The controversy was not born in one dramatic confrontation. It exploded through 13 moments that critics believe revealed Meghan Markle repeatedly brushing aside Queen Elizabeth II, ignoring royal customs, and turning deeply personal traditions into public spectacle while the palace watched in stunned silence.
I'm not a fan of hers at all, and I think she's very disrespectful to the Queen that we just spoke about, who's such a great woman, who's such a great person.
The first moment unfolded in the Netflix documentary released shortly after the Queen's death, where Meghan reenacted the curtsy she performed when meeting the monarch. What should have been a respectful recollection suddenly looked to many viewers like an exaggerated parody of one of the monarchy's most symbolic traditions. The theatrical bow, the amused expression, the casual delivery, it all landed with a thud. And sitting beside her was Harry, smiling awkwardly as the institution that shaped his entire life became the punchline. Was the moment innocent humor, or was it contempt hidden behind laughter? Critics immediately chose the second explanation. The scene felt even more uncomfortable because Princess Camilla had allegedly suggested that Meghan had brainwashed Harry, reducing him to a puppet controlled by somebody else. Whether that description was fair or not, the footage gave suspicious viewers exactly what they needed: a prince sitting silently while his wife mocked the custom associated with respect for his grandmother. No objection, no correction, just that strained reaction as the cameras continued rolling.
Now I'm starting to realize this is a big deal. I mean, Americans will understand this. We have medieval times, dinner and tournament. It was like that. Like, I curtsied as though I was like, pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. Like, was that okay?
Then came the name that carried a lifetime of private meaning. Queen Elizabeth lived among palaces, jewels, estates, and priceless treasures, yet much of that grandeur belonged to the crown rather than to her personally. Lilibet was different. That childhood nickname had been given to her by her grandfather. It's becoming an intimate thread connecting her earliest memories, her family, and the people she had lost. When Meghan named her daughter Lilibet, the decision immediately triggered a storm over whether genuine permission had been granted. Reports claimed the monarch was deeply distressed and told aides that her name was the one thing she owned, yet even that had been taken. If those reports were accurate, this was not merely a naming disagreement. It was a wound, and the controversy grew darker when public promotion and reported trademark moves made the choice appear less like a private tribute and more like something being positioned for a brand. There was no visible apology, no public reflection, and no effort to quiet the speculation. Instead, the name moved further into the spotlight.
That the late Queen told aides after the Sussexes, that's Meghan and Harry, chose the name Lilibet for their daughter. I don't own the palaces or the paintings, only my name. And now they've taken that.
I know that's an incredibly sad comment. And I think one of the reasons was that it was discovered that Meghan, even before Lilibet was born, had taken out the names officially so that she could use them to buy things, to identify them.
The Her H dispute added another explosive layer. Under the 2020 departure agreement, Harry and Meghan were expected to stop using their Her styles commercially after stepping away from senior royal duties. They appeared to accept that arrangement, but reports later suggested something very different was happening behind the scenes. To critics, the royal connection was not merely sentimental, it was the engine powering attention, influence, and financial opportunity. Dropping it completely would mean surrendering the most valuable part of the identity they carried into their new life. That contradiction became impossible to ignore, publicly leaving the institution while continuing to benefit from its prestige. Was this independence, or was it royal status repackaged for survival? Later reports claimed Meghan continued using HRH on items, including gift cards and gifts delivered to other people. A tiny detail, not inside palace walls. Every letter mattered because the agreement had been painfully negotiated while the monarchy faced an unprecedented crisis. Using the style privately could be dismissed as habit, but allowing it to appear on outward-facing items looked to critics like a deliberate loophole. The promise had supposedly been made, the boundary had supposedly been established, yet the title kept resurfacing. And once again, silence only fueled suspicion. During an early engagement, the Queen invited Meghan aboard the royal train, an extraordinary gesture of inclusion. Yet when they departed, Meghan walked ahead and entered the vehicle first. Outsiders might call it harmless confusion, but royal protocol placed the monarch first. Always, soon afterward came another alleged snub. Meghan reportedly refused to show the Queen her wedding dress before the ceremony, despite the monarch helping fund the enormous occasion. Elizabeth Anson later shared the claim with Sally Bedell Smith, describing a sovereign left saddened and anxious before her grandson's wedding. The palace was offering privilege, money, access, and guidance, yet even the smallest courtesy appeared to become another battle. One broken rule could be accidental, two might be awkwardness. But as the moments accumulated, an unsettling question began spreading. Was Meghan struggling to understand royal respect or deliberately refusing to offer it? Even after death, the Queen seemingly could not escape the controversy. On the second anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's passing in 2024, the royal family marked the occasion quietly, yet Meghan appeared at an Oprah Book Club event smiling, networking, and attracting headlines. There was no public acknowledgement from Meghan, and critics saw the timing as another example of Meghan making a solemn royal moment about herself. To them, the Queen was apparently treated like an elderly woman whose feelings and legacy could simply be pushed aside. Before the wedding to Harry, the Queen reportedly attempted to resolve the bitter fallout between Meghan Markle and Thomas Markle by directing courtiers to help. Instead, Meghan allegedly told the Queen that the intervention was unnecessary because Meghan would handle everything personally. Then came another rejection. The Queen offered guidance to help Meghan adjust to royal life, but Meghan reportedly dismissed it. Sources claim the Queen was stunned and compared the response with Sophie, who had embraced royal advice. In a Sunday Times interview, Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, later recalled trying to help Meghan, insisting that the family attempted to support every member. One woman accepted the Queen's direction, the other appeared determined to resist it. Then the bombshell detonated. The Queen was reportedly blindsided when Meghan and Harry announced on Instagram that they intended to step back as senior royals. No warning, no private agreement, just a global announcement that left the Queen hurt. The consequences followed swiftly. Links to the Queen's Commonwealth Trust and the Association of Commonwealth Universities disappeared, while Meghan surrendered the Royal National Theatre patronage. But the deepest tension erupted when the Queen convened the Megxit summit with Charles, William, and Harry. Meghan did not attend and reportedly wanted to participate by telephone. The Queen had summoned the family during an institutional emergency, yet Meghan appeared unwilling to enter the room. Christmas brought another rupture. The Queen cherished Sandringham, but Harry and Meghan skipped the 2019 gathering and traveled to Canada with baby Archie. Meghan continued with the trip despite speculation about how the Queen might feel, while Archie spent the holiday away from the wider family. Palace statements presented the absence as private family time, yet courtiers allegedly saw rebellion. Sandringham was sacred to the Queen, and Harry never spent another Christmas with the Queen after marrying Meghan. At Princess Eugenie's wedding to Jack Brooksbank, Queen Elizabeth led the family from St. George's Chapel. Harry and Meghan reportedly lingered beside Her Majesty instead of moving into the proper order. The Queen allegedly asked them to move once, then again. Harry appeared to speak to Meghan, but only after a third instruction from the Queen did Harry and Meghan finally step aside. Meghan looked visibly unhappy, yet critics argued that the Queen should never have needed to repeat herself 3 times. Then came April 21st, 2026, the date that would have marked Queen Elizabeth's 100th birthday. King Charles paid tribute while commemorative coins honored the late monarch. Meghan, however, launched 2 $64 candles carrying her children's royal titles. One bore the name Lilibet, the Queen's intensely personal childhood nickname. The timing ignited fury. A Reddit commenter called it deliberate trolling, arguing that sales hardly mattered because provoking the royal family was the real objective. Whether calculated or coincidental, the symbolism was impossible to ignore. Meghan Markle had placed a commercial product bearing that cherished name directly into a historic day honoring Queen Elizabeth II. Of all 13 alleged moments, was this merely insensitive timing or the final unmistakable message in a pattern the palace could no longer explain away?